Hey Rob. So
Hey, Paul.
today, what are we talking about?
Let's talk about how to get the fastest general on the battlefield for your deck. And the only thing I can think of to do that like consistently is to have a one drop general. So I want to talk about one drop generals for your commander deck.
That sounds good. Let's get into it.
All right, so Wizards has made some, and the one that blew people's minds was Isamaru, Hound of Kanda. Like just having a 2/2 for one with like no drawback other than it was legendary was like crazy. I remember like seeing those spoilers and saying like, oh, the power creep, it's real.
Right.
And so, but it's a vanilla. So it's just a 2/2, it's a dog. It's a dog now. And so if you want to make like a beatdown deck, then boom. And I've seen people like try and take that idea and go with it with trying to make like a EDH deck where like everything was a one drop just to match like Kanda. I haven't seen it be successful, but I like how just like that simple idea can like inspire people to build creatively.
Right.
And so like your options are really limited. You have 4 options in white with Isamaru. You have Kithian, and he flips into Gideon. Mm-hmm. And then you have Macias, but he's an X and 1. So if you cast him for 1, he would just die because he's a 0/0. So no. And then you have the green. Yeah, you have the green-white hybrid for Riss.
Uh-huh.
The Redeemed, he's a token maker, so that's good. So you drop him, he's an elf, they're always cheap. And then later on in the game, he's more useful.
Yeah.
So white has a lot of options. Green has Ovia, Pashiri, the Sage Lifecrafter. So a 1/2 human artificer. And again, she's pretty much just a copy, like a slight tweak on Riss. She has the exact same ability where she Riss, you pay 2 and then a green or 2 and a white to make a 1/1 elf. And then Ovia, it's 2 and a green and then tap her, and she makes a 1/1 servo. So 3 mana turns into a 1/1 token.
Yeah.
And then they have a bigger ability where for Riss, you pay 6, and you can clone every creature token that you have. And then for Ovia, you pay 5 and tap her, and she makes 1 big creature equal to the number of creatures that you have. So it's kind of like the same thing with like slight tweaks.
Yeah.
So it's not really, I don't consider them different cards. They're pretty much doing the same thing. So white seems to be more like beatdown. That's what a mono white 1-drop beatdown deck is like.
Uh-huh.
Red, I don't really know if those generals count because one is Norin the Wary, and other than just being goofy, like he's not really doing anything himself. He does a lot of things when he's like interacting with other things, like the artifact that makes mirror tokens every time a creature enters the battlefield, or like Pandemonium, when a creature enters a battlefield under your control, you can do damage to something. But I don't really because I thought he was more of like a joke than like a serious 1-drop creature that people can actually use. Well, but people use him creatively, so I guess it was
Well, let's go over all of them, and then we'll dig in deeper to each one.
Okay. All right. So for red, you have Norin the Wary, a 2/1 human warrior that blinks whenever something happens. And then you also have Zurgo, the Bell Striker. Uh-huh. So you have the Orc Warrior, Orc Warrior. Sorry. He's a 2/2, which is good. But he also has Dash. Not too helpful in EDH, but we'll talk about that later. And then in colorless, the last one, you have the Hope of Gearapir, which is a 1/1 Doctor.
Yeah.
It has flying. So it's the only 1-drop flying general that you have. But then you have that whole constraint with like, you have to have like, not wastes? Wastes. And then as many non-basics as you can.
Right.
So yeah, that's what you got. But there are no options in black or blue, which is interesting. So that's kind of like what I want to talk about. It's like, what could Wizards create that could fit into the theme of a nice 1-drop general for black and blue?
Okay. So before we dig into that, can we go over like a little more deep to the individual cards? So we kind of talked about Isamaru, like as much as I want to. Like I don't know if I made that deck or I remember someone else making that deck, but basically it's not good. Like you play Isamaru and then you give him a sword of Fire and Ice or something like that, that's the best it can do. That's like the top of the deck. And then it like gets terrored or something, and then everyone else has much bigger creatures because it's turn 4.
You need a lot to get him going because he pretty much has Battle Cry. He has to attack with 2 other creatures in order for him to flip. And you can pay to make him indestructible, which is good. I mean, having an indestructible general is very helpful. Right. But I think you mostly play him for the Planeswalker. You want the Planeswalker version.
And we've seen, I mean, with all these Origins flip into Planeswalker cards, we've seen like the Nissa tribal deck or the Chandra tribal deck where you just jam all the Planeswalkers. With Gideon, there's not going to be any more Gideons. So like that deck has hit its limit also. Like sorry, Gideon, there's no more. If it's not working out now, I don't think it's going to work out in the future. Mikaeus, we touched on like you want to play a bunch of little things and then like just play anthems to keep Mikaeus pumped up and then keep everything else, because he puts a 1/1 on each other creature you control, so it's like
you have to go wide in order to take advantage of that.
Wide weenies. Norrin is in like every play group. One person will see Warren and make the crazy like Norrin Chaos deck that takes 2.5 hours to finish the game and everyone's mad at the end of the game. Like we've all been there, or if you haven't, like don't play against Norrin or you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Kindly ask them to switch decks.
Right. Yeah. Let them do it once and that's it. Ovia, you were talking about how Ovia, Pashiri, and Reese are pretty similar. But the other day someone was talking about a mono green artifact deck. And so like that's the perfect lead for that deck. I mean, maybe not perfect, but like that's as good as you can get right now. And because they're making so many more artifacts, like just as the game goes, you can put artifacts into other colors that don't usually use them. Like you and I have been talking about me trying to build a Grixis or a Rakdos artifact deck, which, you know, like even 2 years ago did not have the support that it has now to like even try that. So I think it's kind of cool that it's a green creature that makes artifact creature. And then as for the last one, Zurgo, I played a Magic Online, like one-on-one, a duel, and I died to it.
Zurgo?
Yeah, just because
that fast?
They played it like really quickly, and my deck was more of a traditional like takes a couple turns to get going, and they, you know, they used the dash and got there.
Nice.
And you start with less life on Magic Online in duel mode.
Oh, okay. Is it 20 or is it 30?
30.
30? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that extra 10 life does make a difference. How are they able to dash him? How did they return him to his hand? How did that player return Zurgo to their hand? Sorry.
Maybe they didn't actually dash him, but the deck dashed. Like the deck was just like come out.
It just was all in.
Right, and it worked. So yeah, I have to respect
what do you think about
Zurgo a little bit.
Gearapir?
Oh, the Hope of Gearapir.
There's one more.
I put that in my black-white legendary deck that with the vampire that gives all legendaries 2/2, so I can play a 1-drop and it'll get +2/+2 flying. So I don't know. And it also its activated ability isn't that bad. It says when you sacrifice it, until your next turn, target player who was dealt combat damage by the Hope of Gearapir can't cast non-creature spells.
So I never thought about this. So you could go around the table and just like ping everybody with the Hope, and then when you want, you can sacrifice it, and then everyone that has been poked by the Hope can't cast spells for a turn?
For this turn. So
okay.
So it's only if you hit everyone at the table in one turn. So like if you have
okay. I thought it was more of like a lockdown. Okay, good.
No.
That's much easier to keep track of. So, I mean, that's what people have as options right now. Like, if you want to make a consistent way of playing your general and having a lot of access to your general, because the cheaper the general, the more times you can recast it from the command zone, which is nice, because costing 1 and then costing 3 to cast it again is okay. So it feels like you always have that ready to use. But I mean, you have to be careful with how you design 1-drops, because they're early and they're easy to play. So it can't be something so powerful that it warps the game, because it will be. You have to always plan that it will be there first turn.
Right.
So it can't be something like super crazy. Like, you can't put Doubling Season on a 1-drop. That would, like, it wouldn't work.
No,
it would be
that
nice,
would be horrible.
but it would not. The games, no, it would not be good overall. So it has to be something that is not too powerful, but it still has to have that legendary feel, because a legendary card in Magic has to be something that is impactful in some way, or like extremely flavorful. Like, legendary means you only get 1 copy of it on the battlefield at a time. Mm-hmm. So it has to be something that has to have, like, evoke the feel of that. So it has to be powerful, but not too powerful. So, like, there's that fun balance that you get. And I think, like, Isamaru is fine. Like, I think it's like a perfect way of doing that, where it's powerful, like you feel like you're getting your mana's worth, or like you're cheating, you're getting more than your mana's worth, but it doesn't warp the game. So what could black and blue do? And that's, like, careful, because, like, when you talk about blue, that's the color that warps the game the most. Right. So you have to be very careful. So what would you do? Like, how would you design a 1-drop for blue?
The Flying Men.
Okay, that's what I went to. Like, I put, like, Angry Men and then Flying, so it would be like Angry Flying Men.
Uh-huh.
So that's, like, okay, like a 1/1 flyer for 1 is what blue does in common. Because you have Flying Men, you have, like, Zephyr, Sprite. So for that to go to, so that's okay. Like, for blue to have a 1/1 flyer, but how do you make it legendary without it going crazy? I have an idea.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so I thought, okay, so my card would be, picture it, Angry Flying Men, 1/1 human warrior. Oh no, does blue get warriors?
Well, if it's Flying Men, they should be pirates.
Pirates?
Like
Okay.
like the original.
Okay, I like the pirates. So, human pirate, 1/1 flying, and then prowess. So you're making a blue spell slinger deck where you just have to keep, like, the road to your opponent's face clear. So you're playing all of your, like, boomerangs and, like, your cheap counter spells just to keep the Flying Men alive and pumped.
Yeah. I like it.
So that's my, like, safe, like, my rated G for general audiences.
Great. Yeah. So, like, I keep saying when someone tries to terror, like, I know no one plays terror anymore, but that's just like, after 15 years of saying that, even after no one plays it. Anyway, after someone tries to kill your Flying Men, and then you, like, counter it, and then it gets stronger from prowess, like, that feels like such a good blue thing to be doing. Like, it's not an overpowered creature because it's just a 1/1, which blue creatures should be smaller than the other creatures. Like, Wizards forgot that. Like, they lost that file somewhere down the line, but I think that's how it should be, and I think that's a really good one that you said.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us on this, crazy discussion to experimental Magic Land, where we kind of flesh out this activity. If you liked our ideas, please tell us in the comments. Please like, subscribe, comment. If you think that you have a way of improving, or if you have a suggestion for a mono-colored 1-drop general, please share it in the comments. Let's have this good discussion going, and hopefully Wizards can, hear us and meet our needs.
Take some notes.
All right. Bye, everyone. I'm Rob.
I'm Paul. I'll see you in the future.
Bye.